Okay, so this video is a little bit in greater detail on how to utilize the catalog manager within Orderport. So what the things we're going to go over in here in this video are better descriptions for e-commerce for the items, item collections, adding a photograph of the item for e-commerce purposes, and also proper titling and inactivating or activating an item to keep the catalog on the front end of the POS clean. So, of course, we're going to go into Catalog Manager, and from here, the first thing I want to do is talk a little bit about consignment items. So in another video, we talk about how to properly tag or title items that are under consignment, in particular Wild Rose, which is our largest consignment vendor. So let's go ahead and narrow down, showing all in the groups, narrow down Wild Rose products and make sure that they are properly built. So if we go into the first one that comes up is the coconut brittle. What we are checking for is that the product category is retail consignment, which it is. The product is physical, and that the Wild Rose name is in the title. Now, obviously, these are not items. We do have an item photo here, but these are not items that we would be putting on e-commerce. We don't have enough profit of margin to allow it to be sold on e-commerce. E-commerce is really for items with a large profit margin so that we can comp free shipping over a $35 purchase. We don't have the markup available to do that with these items. So these are not something that you would want to actually put on e-commerce. Now, you can see here that the trade membership is not active, so we would want to change that to 10% discount and activate that for our trade members. So that is, we'll just save the change on that. Let's go back in to the overall catalog manager and look at some other Wild Rose products. The other thing is that I was seeing duplicate items when we created the video for the consignment purchases. So let's take a look. I know this is listed correctly. Let's take a look at the serving tray and see if that is retail consignment. That looks good. Go back. Soap bags. So it looks like these are all correctly labeled as the product category and as Wild Rose. So let's go back to Catalog Manager and take a different approach. Let's look at, let's see if it'll let us look it up by Wild Rose Farms. Search. So this is under the group Wild Rose, and as you can see, here's one that doesn't have the item and it's marked as active. So you would probably be able to find 2 8-ounce soaps under Wild Rose. So you've got the one that doesn't say Wild Rose, but it is in the Wild Rose category. And then if you looked up Wild Rose within that group, let's see if we can't find that 8-ounce soap. Wild Rose soap with pump, which is probably that. In fact, I'm positive that's what it is. So what we're going to want to do is actually go back, search. We don't want to delete this item because, as you can see, there's minus 65 in stock, which means that we've already sold it. So if you delete that item, unfortunately, that means that when you pull a sales report up, the report would be altered and wouldn't show those sales because you've deleted that item and essentially deleted all of the sales history. So we don't want to delete it, but we definitely want to mark it as inactive. We don't want to continue to sell this item improperly. So at least it's built correctly. It is under retail consignment. If the trade membership is marked correctly. But because you already have another item that is a duplicate, we're going to go ahead and mark it as inactive. Now, anytime you mark a product as active or inactive, you add a product, you delete, or you change the status of a product, or you update a product, you're going to want to then go to the front end iPad POS stations, and each one update the catalog, and that will bring about the changes that you've made here in the catalog manager. Now, I want to go back to Wild Rose here, see if we can't find another duplicate product. Definitely want to inactivate any items that don't actually have Wild Rose in the title. So find out if you have Wild Rose 4-ounce soaps, and if you do, inactivate that item. Wild Rose jellies, inactivate that item. It looks like that one's already been inactivated. Many of these items, you can see at one time we were trying to put in all the flavors and all of the candles. Those items have been inactivated. You can see that we have a sales history with all of them. But those items have been inactivated because it becomes overwhelming for the front-end staff and cashiers to try and keep track of that. The match bottles, you've got a Wild Rose match. Let's take a look at that. I think this is another duplicate item. Yes, you've got Wild Rose matches, and then you've got an active item of match bottle. So we're going to go into match bottle, and again, we're going to go to status, and we're going to inactivate it. Now, so that's something that you're going to want to go through and make sure that those items are not duplicated. When you look at the video on how to create a check request for consignment vendors, you can see there the need and certainly the reason for wanting to eliminate those duplicates. It just becomes confusing and obviously more confusing for the cashiers on the front end. So the next thing we want to do is go to items that we might want to put on e-commerce. So let's go into mugs, would be the first thing I can think of. And we've got that's marked as inactive. So let's go to search all. Maybe we don't call them mugs anymore. Okay, we call them a mug. Mug. Okay, so let's see. Let's go to the camper mug, espresso, then prosecco. As you can see, we've got a number of them, and those are under different colors. So now this is a really great one for the potential for e-commerce. You can see here there is an opportunity to select an image. So you can upload an image, and we obviously have a pretty good lifestyle photo of a lot of these mugs that can be utilized. And this is where you would upload it. You would find it in your file. The file would have to be located on your computer in order for you to add it. Either in your OneDrive, Dropbox, if you have Dropbox installed on your computer. I know we utilize at Peltzer's Dropbox for a lot of our merchandise items, so that can be a quick way for you to utilize that quickly and efficiently. The other reason that I bring up this item is that if it's going on e-commerce, here you can create an overview, which is you can view from the front end of the website. So So let's go ahead and open up our website, peltzerwinery.com, and go to the shop, merchandise. Let's see if any of these mugs are listed. It looks like the camper mug Pumpkin Spice Life is located on here. And as you can see, if we had a overview description, it would show up here. Looks like in this case the mugs do not have a description available, but you could put that in the overview here, and then also on the summary screen you could have a separate description as well, something a little bit deeper if you like, and that would show up. Let's see, the Fall Y'all tote has it, so let's go ahead and use that. So it looks like it's just duplicated. So what you might want to do is alter it so that you have, this is the overview page, which is the first selected here, so that all of that product information is listed there. This is like the full description, and then this would be your summary description. So if you wanted to alter this, a good way to do that, you have your full description in the overview, which is what we're looking at here. But when you actually go to the summary page where it's got all of the items listed, you may want to paraphrase. So it may just be Canvas Fall Y'all tote, available in the month of November, donations to Charity for Charity. And then once you click on the item, it tells you a little bit more about the Charity for Charity organization, and that you can purchase the totes online or in the crush house. So, so I think that's an important step that is underutilized and something that you will want to populate as e-commerce kind of comes online a little bit more for the appropriate items. Next, I think what is important, and we can utilize this same product as well, is creating collections. So if we go back to Catalog Manager, let's take a look at some of the collections that have already been created. We've got in here, doesn't look like we have any collections, but we should have collection types. So show all. So these are some of the collection items that have been created before. You can pretty well ignore the event bottles that have been created, but something that you can look at is the 4-pack of the logo tasting glasses. So what that means is you can purchase on the front end a 4-pack, and the price has already been adjusted to include the 4 glasses. And then instead of creating its own item, what it does is when you create a collection, you're actually creating a collection of items that would allow you to affect the inventory of the particular item involved in that collection. So in this case, it's 4 of the same items. So we have, when we create our collection, you've got quantity 4 tasting glasses, which is the actual physical inventoried item, and we have an extended price of $45. And what that does is anytime that we sell a 4-pack, it removes 4 tasting glasses from inventory. So it is a great inventory control process when you create collections. Now, one of the things that is applicable as we head into the Christmas season is that you may want to create collections for baskets that you're creating. And we'll do another video that talks a little bit more in greater detail about that.